Welcome back to the Xtra Point podcast. I'm Matt Santa.
I'm Dean Williamson.
I'm Alex Martin.
I'm Josh Cornatzer.
I'm Landon Jordan.
And this is episode 2, and we're going to be talking about the SEC East. We're going to go through each of the teams in the SEC East and kind of talk about their schedules and where we think they'll end up at the end of the regular season. We're going to go through each game that they play and kind of give a brief synopsis of each team. So to start it off, we are going to start it off with the Georgia Bulldogs, Landon's favorite team. And since it's his favorite team, I'll let him go ahead and get us started with that.
All right, so we start off with UT Martin. It's a night game that Georgia fans have been asking for, but it's not particularly the opponent we want the night game to be against. UT Martin at Sanford Stadium week 1. This is one of those games where it's like, hey, Georgia fans come out. We're playing another school. I mean, that's about the only thing motivating going into this. Hey, we're going to line up. Somebody else is coming to town. So that should be 1-0. Put us at a 1-0 start. Then next week at noon, we play Ball State. That should be another one of them games where it's like bring the family out, get cheap tickets, watch Georgia win by 50. So that puts us at 2-0. And then, so you can imagine UT Martin, Ball State, Georgia just padding stats the first 2 weeks. Week 3 is going to be a little bit tougher. South Carolina always plays us good. Well, other than last year, they always be competitive, but they always battle injuries and stuff. So week 3, they come to Sanford Stadium. They already announced it's a 3:30 CBS kickoff. So it's always a good rivalry with South Carolina and Georgia. Rattler coming back, and Wales, they'll have a pretty decent offense. They're kind of just feeding off what they do in their week 1 game, which I think will bring some motivation to that, because that's like an SEC East championship right there week 3. I mean, that should be your 2 best teams in the East, 2 of your better ones at least. You always got to count for Tennessee, but I say Georgia wins that by about 10 points. I say the first 2 weeks are kind of putting trust in Carson Beck and letting him rip through and kind of get a feel before South Carolina comes to town and get a little test. Then next week after that, we're playing UAB in Athens. That should be another 30-point family. Bring your family out day. Georgia should kill them. They should be 4-0. Going to Auburn early, this could kind of be I'm not saying Auburn is no world beaters, but, you know, it's a rivalry game. It's week 5. It's early. It's still September football. Anything can happen in any conference like that that's competitive in a rivalry. So I still think Georgia's got the edge 5-0. Turn around next week, play Kentucky in Athens. Like I still feel like that should be Kentucky's on them. They have that one standout player that always gets them hyped up. But this year, with Will Levis being gone, I just don't really see Kentucky being that team that has that one standout player that can carry their weight and getting them all hyped up. So I'm going 6-0. Next fall, we got that. We played a mighty Vanderbilt Commodores in Nashville. That's like just, hey, let's take a road trip field day. That's 7-0 easy. Then we're going to a bye week after that. So we should be 7-0 and going into the bye, and then come out and bam, we got to play Florida in Jacksonville. That's always competitive. Everybody can hype up Florida. Florida this, Florida that. They'll hang out in the first half. It'll be a close game. Georgia comes back and win by about 17, 20 points. Beats Florida, turns into 8-0. Then turn around next week, we got Missouri and Athens. Missouri is always one of them games where if you sleep on them, they can compete and play with you. They kind of play to the competition of their opponents. And I'm still we take care of business 9-0. Next week's and next 2 weeks actually is going to be very tricky. It just depends on how Lane Kiffin has his Ole Miss rolling going into the 10th game of our season. I believe we'll pull it out. And 10-0 going in Knoxville. I think Tennessee will probably be 9-1 with a loss to Alabama. Georgia to be 10-0. It'll be the SEC East Championship. Everybody hype up Joe Milton. I think he'll have a good season next year. Georgia goes in there, comes out alive by about 10 points. 11-0, and take care of business on the road in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. And my prediction is I think Georgia will win the SEC East. But I believe that they will most likely probably face Alabama in the championship.
Good deal. I mean, I agree. I think this schedule is kind of easy to go through. With Georgia being as good as they are, and then some of the teams they're playing being as bad as they are. So I think it's kind of fair to. I'm gonna kind of do this a little different. I guess I'll just go ahead and go. I'm not gonna waste my time with the no-name teams, and kind of spend more time with teams that actually think that might give them a chance at having a competitive game, for lack of a better word. So first game, UT Martin, that's an easy win. Ball State, that's an easy win. South Carolina will come to town. They'll be hyped up. Spencer Rattler, they'll be talking. They'll get smoked. I think they'll probably get beat by 30 in Athens, probably, if I'm being completely honest with you. They're not going to be that good at the beginning of the season. They lost a few key guys on offense, and I don't see the Gamecocks doing anything that early in the season because they're not going to be all locked in together. Although Rattler is coming back for a second year with the Gamecocks, I just don't see it. I think Georgia's going to be good, and I think the Gamecocks are going to be overhyped. UAB's next. That'll be easy win. Auburn is going to be atrocious. That's another win. Kentucky, they have Devin Leary this year, so that game might actually be a little bit closer than most people would expect. They have one of the best receiving cores they've had in a long time with two guys that were All-Americans. But once again, this game is in Athens, which does not help out Kentucky at all, and I do not think they have the guys to run with Georgia. So that's another win for Georgia. And then Vanderbilt win. Florida is going to be – this is probably going to be the worst Florida team that we've seen in a very long time. They have nobody at quarterback. They literally transferred in Graham Mertz from Wisconsin, who's the equivalent of a garbage can, probably. I might be able to go start at Florida this year. No offense to that guy. I hope he does great. But he hasn't proven himself at all. Anyways, Missouri, another win. They played him close last year, but that game was in Missouri, and it could be a potential look-ahead game. I could see this game getting close, but with the way they played last year, I just don't see them playing like that again against the same team. So I think it's going to be a blowout win for Georgia, and then they play Ole Miss at home. And, that could be a game, in my opinion, that would be a close one if it were on the road, but it's not. They are going to be at home in Athens, and I think they're going to beat Ole Miss handily. And then they'll go to Tennessee, and then that's where I think things get rocky. They're riding high on a win against a good Ole Miss team, probably top 15 Ole Miss team, if we're being honest, maybe top 20, somewhere around there, but a good win nonetheless, and probably one of the better teams that's on the schedule. And I think that they slip up, especially with the quarterback being as young as he is and Carson Beck. And I'm not saying that he can't be good, but everybody has some type of rocky start as far as starting in this league. And Stroud did it against Oregon, and then later the season lost to Michigan. And then, there's Bryce Young has lost games against good teams too. So it's not out of the question for quarterbacks to do this, even if they're playing at an elite level. But I just believe that Tennessee is going to have a pretty good team next year, and the game is going to be in Neyland. And the way that game went last year is not how they want it to go. And I think this is a revenge game for Tennessee to be able to get back from last year, especially the year they had. It could have changed a lot of things for them. Had they won that game, they'd probably be in the college football playoff. And Joe Milton's coming in at quarterback, transfer from Michigan, who sat behind Hendon Hooker last year. He's got a rocket arm, and I think if he gets better as far as the accuracy goes, he can be pretty good. So I'm going to give Tennessee that one. And then they go and play at Georgia Tech, and that'll be a win. So I have them finishing with one loss. I think that they're going to be a really good team, and I think they're going to make the playoff. But I don't think it's going to be another perfect season, especially with all the moving pieces that they've had in the offseason with guys going to the NFL draft, and then obviously it changes at quarterback.
So I basically agreed with almost everything you said. It's going to be a cakewalk almost to get to the Tennessee game. But I still feel like they're going to win the Tennessee game. I still feel like Georgia's going to go 12-0 just because they're still a stacked team. I mean, they're still
very
good.
much so.
But Tennessee is the only game that I looked at their schedule and I said I was actually questioning my decision on if I wanted to give Georgia a win there. But I just ultimately decided to give them the win. I just got faith in them. I think it being at Neyland Stadium, and I watched Joe Milton destroy Clemson, so I mean, I'm aware of how good he is. But I'm still confident that Georgia can pull off the win. And just to speed through Georgia's schedule, since you basically kind of hit everything, I have Georgia going 12-0 also.
Okay.
Just like Landon did.
All right, I'll go Georgia 12-0. Last year I said Tennessee was going to stomp on Tennessee, and I was mightily wrong. So, Georgia 12-0. The Tennessee game will be close. I think it'll come down to the final few minutes, but I think they'll win 12-0 for Georgia.
Somebody get a video camera out for this. Alex just said we're going 12-0.
All right.
I was wrong last year, so I admit it.
That doesn't mean you're going 13-0.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. I said 12-0. I said 12-0.
He said 12-0, not 13-0.
We ain't talking
Definitely
about
not 15-0.
No.
Not again.
No way.
Yes.
No.
There's no way.
No.
I
guess we'll swing things to Vanderbilt.
Well, Josh,
I didn't really do much research.
What is this?
Josh, I thought we were in agreement here.
We are.
He was shaking his head there.
He said this is a complete pancake of a schedule. I'm sorry. I don't have confidence in the Georgia team in the Tennessee game, but they play easy teams.
But
they're going to lose to Tennessee.
Same guy. Hey, look, this is the same guy that had Maryland ranked. So
Landon had Liberty ranked. I don't want to hear it.
That's better than Maryland.
Josh, I do have
LSU in the bottom 20.
We do have a Virginia Tech that is on our mission team with us.
Oh, yes. Good.
I don't believe it. There's no way.
They exist, apparently. I didn't know it was. It might be this too. I'm not sure.
And poor people, they need a savior. They need a savior to watch around and teach people about the savior.
That's a personal Virginia Tech's PR staff trying to make people believe they have.
I know we're on SEC East today, but I seen they're doing a promotion, a ACC Coastal promotion. After Sandstorm, they're gonna give half price tickets if you just want to listen to Enter Sandman. I mean, they're gonna give you half price tickets if you just want to listen to the interest in the league. They give half price tickets.
That's what they do anyway.
It's half price for the football game.
Oh boy. Well, I guess we'll go to Vanderbilt since we're on the topic of terrible football teams. And
Vanderbilt 12-0.
Listen, I didn't even have Vanderbilt finishing last. I didn't have them finishing last in the East.
Hey, look, really? In all seriousness, I got Vanderbilt going 5-7.
I do too.
I want to hear them making a bowl game. I'm curious. Okay, so here's what I got. I got them beating Hawaii. I got them beating Alabama A&M. I got them beating Wake Forest, and I got them beating UNLV. Obviously, Wake Forest lost Sam Hartman, so that's going to hurt them pretty good. And Vanderbilt's kind of on the rise. I mean, they've gotten better over the past year or two. I just can't see them winning games like Kentucky. I mean, I could see them possibly beat Missouri. That's a possibility. Kentucky's going to be good with a good quarterback if Devin Leary stays healthy throughout the year. And then you got Florida. I mean, they're going to be bad, but I still think they'll beat Vanderbilt. Georgia, Ole Miss, Auburn, South Carolina, and then Tennessee. So I could definitely see 5-7, but I got them going 4-8.
I got 5-7 too.
I have them beating both Kentucky and Missouri. So they go ahead and pick up their first 2 conference wins, and then they lose out.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
1-7 SEC for Vanderbilt.
If people actually listen to some of these podcast comments, they would never listen to this again.
Listen. I have Missouri finishing in the bottom of the East.
Yes.
I have them tied last.
I think they'll finish last, and I think Vanderbilt will beat them. And I think they'll beat Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky's going to be good at all this season. I think it's just going to be trash.
I think they had the potential to. Didn't they transfer in Brady Cook from Michigan State?
I'm not sure, but all I know is Kentucky is like the definition of a mid football team.
Okay, let's go to Missouri. Since we're on the topic of them, I got them beating South Dakota, Middle Tennessee, and then losing to Kansas State. They got smoked by them last year, and then I got them beating Memphis. I got them beating Vanderbilt, and then I have them. Holy smokes! Okay, I didn't realize I wrote this in. I guess that can make sense. So they did give Georgia a test last year with the potential of a win, and they slipped up. And Georgia was a really good team. So I have them beating the mighty Tennessee Volunteers on November 11th at home as an upset. So I think that I feel like with Joe Milton, I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I think I got them going like 10-2 or something like that. I mean, we'll get to Tennessee, but I just feel like there is sometimes where he's just a loose cannon and things just go just crazy with him. I've seen it happen with him at Michigan. He just throws tons of interceptions, and that was the season that they were really bad when he was playing a lot. So I feel like that part of him is still there, and you can't fully erase that. So I think that they will slip up somewhere. So that's where I have them slipping up, and then I have them losing to Florida and then losing to Arkansas.
I have Missouri winning one game against an SEC opponent. Not one game in general. One game against an SEC opponent. And it's their last game against Arkansas. It's their only game I see them winning. I don't know why. I just don't. Missouri just doesn't scream good at football to me.
KJ Jefferson is still at quarterback for Arkansas, I'm pretty sure.
They're going to pull it off.
Yeah, he is coming back.
Yeah.
Listen, they can beat South Dakota, they can beat Middle Tennessee, and they can beat Memphis. But from there on out, I'm just sitting there saying, I don't see them beat any of these teams.
Those are the only 3 wins I have for them.
Okay.
I got Missouri going 6-6.
They got a tough schedule.
Ooh, who's got them going 6? Alex?
Me.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
All right, they're going to beat South Dakota. They're going to beat Middle Tennessee. They're losing to Kansas State, beating Memphis, beating Vanderbilt, and beating South Carolina.
Hey, I'll take it.
They have beaten South Carolina 4 in a row. They've beaten South Carolina 4 years in a row. No matter how bad they are, they have managed to beat South Carolina 4 straight years. I think they're going to do it again.
Hey,
and then they beat Arkansas.
Clemson a few years back?
Streaks against South Carolina don't matter. It could be 7 years, and it could be broken, and they'll go crazy, and streaks don't matter.
Yeah. They're going to beat South Carolina for a 5th straight year.
I feel like
Who cares about streak?
I feel like there's a winning streak for the Gamecocks in Charlotte against the Tar Heels, but I'm not exactly sure. Could be wrong.
We'll get on that. We're going to get on that. All right.
You know what?
Get on that.
Let's go ahead and swing it to the mighty South Carolina Gamecocks while we're at it.
0-12.
And let me
I'm going
tell
to
you
go
something.
first since my team is playing first. All right.
Go ahead. Alex.
Hold on, let me go first. Look.
Hey, you went first in Georgia.
Whatever.
That's true. Let Alex go first.
Oh, gosh.
All right. So first week, they played the mighty UNC Tar Heels. Now, the last time that we played, they had a clipboard man at quarterback, and they smoked us in the belt in the bowl. They absolutely torched us, and that North Carolina team was so bad that we got our best quarterback in history drafted in the 5th round of the NFL draft, Sam Howell. So that team was bad. Now we got Drake May. We have a good run. We have a good running core. We got Mac Brown. We're winning. All right. So that's a loss for South Carolina. Next week they're gonna beat Furman. So and then after that they lose to Georgia. They'll beat Mississippi State. Losing to what team? You got something to say?
They're going 0-12. You keep going. You keep going.
No, because they play Clemson.
Tennessee lose. They're going to pull out a win against Florida. They're going to lose to Missouri. Like I said, losing to A&M. They'll beat Jacksonville State, beat Vanderbilt, beat Kentucky, and then they are losing to They're losing to Clemson in Columbia. Because let's be real. Last year, all right, look, Clemson, South Carolina walked into Clemson last year and won. Right, big surprise. Clemson's quarterback went 9 for 28 passing. 9 for 29. That's borderline negative. And South Carolina only won by a point. Cade Klubnik's a way better quarterback. And they're getting a new offensive coordinator. I think Clemson's going to come into Williams-Brice and beat them.
Cade Klubnik won't even come out the locker room in South Carolina.
He'll go positive South Carolina.
Yeah, there he is. He's showing up.
So, yeah, I got South Carolina going 6-6.
Really?
Okay. Huh.
I have them going 0-12.
I got them going 9-3. That ain't no joke. I got them going 9-3.
All right, go ahead, Landon. Let's hear this tragedy.
This ain't no lie. North Carolina, they might as well not even come to the game. Lost. They're getting curb stomped. Carolina is gonna whip North Carolina. Like I said, Carolina is going to whip North Carolina. Like I said, Furman, South Carolina is going to whip them. Week 3, like Lee Corso says, not so fast. Georgia curb stomps them early. Mississippi State, they win that. Tennessee getting their revenge back. That's the 2 losses. Florida, South Carolina kills them. Missouri, South Carolina, the streak is over. They win. A&M win. Jacksonville State win. Vanderbilt win. And I'm going to be honest. They had the worst luck with Kentucky. I'm giving them a loss looking into Clemson as their 3rd loss. And they take down Clemson, then Columbia.
I actually had South Carolina going 8-4, and I mostly agreed with most of your picks.
I do too.
But I think they're going to lose to Texas A&M this year. Actually, I think
I also agree.
They beat Texas A&M last year, but this time they're going to Texas A&M, and they're going to want revenge for that game. I think Texas A&M will be better than they were last year, which doesn't really take much, honestly. I think they're going to get absolutely murdered by the Clemson Tigers. I think it's going to be a revenge game, and the Clemson Tiger fans are going to storm the field there. Why not? Why not?
Josh, you got something? I'll go after you guys.
Hold on, Dean. What's your UNC South Carolina prediction?
Oh, I have South Carolina winning that game.
Alex, I done told you, North Carolina might as well just save. They ain't no need to waste gas money if you ain't got to do it. They might as well save the gas.
I don't know what world you have on. It's going to be.
Mac Brown will be in Mac Brown will be in the MUSC Charlotte after that game.
Oh my God!
Did you see last year what South Carolina did to Tennessee's defense? What do you think North Carolina's garbage defense is going to do against South Carolina?
One game does not make you a good football team. South Carolina was mid all year last year until they took steroids before that Tennessee game. That does not make you a good football team. They do not.
They might be still taking them that 4-year game.
They are not going to be able to handle Drake May.
Oh God.
Okay.
All right. So here's my schedule for South Carolina. So I got them beating North Carolina. I got them beating Furman. They started the schedule with a bang when they play North Carolina and Charlotte for the first game of the season. I don't think it's going to be an easy game, but I think it's going to be a test to see how well this team can, hold their weight in college football after being pretty good last year and beating some pretty highly touted opponents. Spencer Rattler's coming back. Offense is going to look to be good as last year, and even though they lost some players in the portal, Marshawn Lloyd went to the real USC, and I still believe that the real Carolina is in North Carolina. So there's my stance on that. Also, Mario Anderson Jr. is coming in from Newberry. He set multiple D2 records. He's going to be in for the running back position. And then Juju McDowell comes back, he was a good player last year. And Anderson and McDowell will probably be sharing the load. Juju is probably going to play some running back too. Gamecocks only lose one receiver to the portal and retain the rest, which is really good. And the guy they lost in the portal wasn't even a guy that really contributed much. Defensively, the run defense that has to get better. They ranked second to last in the conference last year and took a step back by giving up 23 more yards per game on average on the ground than they did the year before. And the Gamecocks, they always have one of the toughest schedules in football, as they have to take on some very good opponents. So first two games, I kind of already said, 2 wins there. I think they're going to get curb stomped against Georgia, so 2-1. Then they go play Mississippi State. It's 3-1 at Tennessee. I got them at 3-2. Got them beating Florida and Missouri. That's 5-2. And then I got them losing to Texas A&M. Texas A&M is going to be a lot better. I think the reason that team was so bad last year was because of the play calling from Jimbo Fisher. Their team had one of the best recruiting classes. Actually, I take that back. The best recruiting class of all time. I believe it was in 2021, according to 247. And when you got talent that much, I mean, the only way that you can mess it up that bad is just by coaching. And that's exactly what I think happened. I don't think they're going to be that bad next year. So I got them losing there, and then I got them beating Jacksonville State, and then I have them beating Vanderbilt. Got them losing to Kentucky. It always seems like they struggle with them, even though that game is at home. Very winnable game, but if Devin Leary stays healthy, I think they're going to lose that game. And then they play Clemson at home to finish off the season. They beat them last year. Clemson was, coming in last year, and they haven't seen a Carolina team like that in a while. And Carolina beat them in Death Valley. So I think that the Gamecocks are riding high off this win. They have some confidence after last year, and I think they're going to beat them once again in Williams-Brice. So I've got the Gamecocks going a mighty 8-4. Not bad at all considering the schedule that they have. You can definitely flip a few of these games a few different ways, but there's just kind of the way I've got it set up. So I think 8-4 is very, very possible with this team and very likely. So that's what I got.
Yeah, that's my floor for them. I have them going 10-2, and that's their ceiling. I don't see them winning any more than that, but I think they could lose a few games and be 8-4. I have them losing to Georgia and Tennessee, but I think that UNC and Clemson game could easily be a close game, and you could flip those to losses, making them 8-4. But I am going 10-2.
Wow, that's crazy. That's pretty strong.
I don't respect that opinion.
I don't either.
Well,
At all.
That's
you're a
crazy.
Clemson fan, so both of y'all are biased.
That is outrageous. That is outrageous.
My bias is not stopping me from saying that they shouldn't be 10-2.
Kate Klubnik will not beat Notre Dame, Florida State, or South Carolina this year. Put it down on the table.
That's facts. That's facts.
I think he'll beat South Carolina. I don't know about Notre Dame.
I think he'll beat either Notre Dame.
I think Florida State will toss up.
I think
Notre Dame and
Florida State.
I think we're going to get murdered by Notre Dame.
Jordan Travis shreds them. Absolute shreds them.
We'll see.
I think Clemson will be lucky to make a bowl game.
We'll all be watching the game together. We will see. You're right.
That's true.
Hold on. Rewind. What did Corazon just say?
What did you say,
Josh?
I said I think they'd be lucky to make a bowl game.
Are you talking about Virginia Tech right now?
Hey. Go
if
your leave it to him to have the worst predictions. Where's this South Carolina going to go 10-2? That's outrageous.
I mean, just think about it.
Hey, we'll come back to this when they go 10-2.
He's probably got Kansas 1-12.
Hey, look,
we won't be coming back to this.
If Metallica never put a pen and paper together, Virginia Tech football would not even have a schedule. Honestly.
Maybe.
Oh boy! All right, y'all want to do Florida next?
Not really. I hope the whole school shut down. COVID and tuberculosis.
Yeah, Florida going 5-7.
Let's do the Florida Gators, and since Landon likes them so much, we're gonna go ahead and let him start it off.
I'd love to actually. So I got them going a mighty 4-8 this season. Utah, they might as well just save their gas money. Hell. McNeese college game day probably go there for that game. Battle of the two trash holes in America. But they'll win that on a game-winning field goal, I'd bet. Tennessee, don't even go to the game. Charlotte, they'll probably beat them. Kentucky, forget about it, lost. Vanderbilt, homecoming, they ain't got 2 teeth with the homecoming queen, lost. At South Carolina, they're not winning that, lost. Georgia, oh my God, I wouldn't even go to that game. Arkansas, you might, but I'll give them credit. They'll beat them. At LSU, don't go to the game. At Missouri, I think Missouri just falls asleep on an alarm clock, and they will forfeit that, won't even show up. Florida get the 4th win. Florida State demolishes them. 4-8 for the Gators.
All right.
Yeah, I'm 5-7.
I did too. I also have them 5-7.
I have them being completely average and being 6-6.
Oh my gosh.
No, I don't think they're gonna get a bowl game for the second straight year.
No, Vandy's better than that.
I have them beating McNeese, Charlotte, and then I have them beating Kentucky and Vanderbilt, and then I also have them beating Arkansas and Missouri.
All right, I'm gonna give some facts to you guys. So they're currently sitting outside the top 100 of teams with returning production this year.
Ooh.
That hurts.
That's not good.
Big time.
I might need to change my
But Billy Napier did bring in the 14th ranked recruiting class after having the 18th best the previous year. So they're getting better recruiting wise, but they also don't have a quarterback because they had to transfer the guy in from Wisconsin. So that tells me that like Jack Miller, who transferred from Ohio State, wasn't very good and was never going to play at Ohio State to begin with. That he's not even good enough to beat out Graham Mertz at Florida. So that's a problem. And I think that's what leads me to believe that this team is going to be very bad because you can't win without a quarterback, and Clemson proved that last year.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad though.
Hey.
Ohio State did too last year. Don't feel bad.
Hey, you never know what could happen. Jack Miller could come out of nowhere, beat out Graham Mertz, and become one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time, just like another guy did.
Oh no!
Joe Burrow story in Florida is happening right now.
No.
Stetson Bennett was better than Joe Burrow in college, man. I have.
No.
Oh my gosh!
I can't agree with that one.
I need to screen share my Joe Burrow versus Georgia highlights.
Who's your wins, Dean? Who's your wins for Florida? I've got McNeese, Charlotte, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and Missouri, and I have them losing to Utah, Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, Georgia, LSU, and Florida State.
I had all of those wins, but I did have them beating Kentucky. I had them beating Kentucky instead.
Okay.
I think they go on a 3-game winning streak right there.
Yeah.
Billy Napier is going to be on the hot seat after this season.
I don't think they're going to be. I don't think Florida has the talent to run with Kentucky. They typically would. I think Kentucky's going to be pretty good next year.
We haven't done our schedule yet.
No, we haven't. We'll do them, and then we can finish with the mighty Tennessee Volunteers after that.
I think the complete opposite of Kentucky. I think I just have like a secret hate for Kentucky for some reason. But I have them going 5-7.
Oh my God, it's awful.
6
I got them 7-5.
I have them beating Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, Akron, Missouri, and Louisville. I have them losing to Vanderbilt as their first loss.
Yeah.
They'll start off 3-0 and they'll start to gain some hype. And then Vanderbilt, they're gonna go in to Nashville and they're gonna lose. I think I have like a hate for Kentucky that I never knew about.
I think you do.
I don't know why. It stems from Will Levis, I believe.
I hate
I got who has something higher than 8?
I got him 7. 7 wins.
6.
I got 7.
You got 6? All right, I got 9. So I'm going to tell you guys what I think. So here's my reasoning behind it. So they come with some firepower from the portal. They got Devin Leary from North Carolina State. If he stays healthy, this team's going to be really good.
Terrible.
Devin Leary is a good quarterback, all right?
No, he's not.
He can be really good. He just never
Also-
is healthy for the whole season to be able to prove it.
I also
Well,
have
he
hate for
already
Devin
has a
Leary
bad
now I
mental
think about it.
capacity. He chose NC State.
He never lost to
Yeah,
North
so this-
Carolina, so the story resumes.
Oh. My other reasoning is he has one of the best wide receiver rooms Kentucky has had in a long time. Like I said earlier, he got 2 freshman All-Americans, Barron Brown and Dane Key. Offensive line's got to get better. They did add some guys from the portal. They got Ben Chrisman from Ohio State and Cortland Ford from USC, not South Carolina, Southern Cal. Defensively, I think they'll be fine. They were pretty good last year. They've gotten a lot better. Obviously, Mark Stoops is the head coach there. They have to replace 5 starters, but they'll have some young, solid talent as well, with leading freshman All-American tackle Deion Walker. I think this team could go probably 10-2 or 8-4, and I just think it depends on if Devin Leary can play. So I kind of split the middle there and went with 9-3. And I've got the wins against Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, Akron, Vanderbilt, Florida, lose to Georgia, and then I got them beating Missouri, losing to Tennessee, beating Mississippi State, losing to Alabama, beating South Carolina, and then beating Louisville to finish out the season. That's what I got.
They're gonna have to hire somebody. They're gonna need to hire somebody for that Georgia game. They can pull grass out of his helmet when he's eating the dirt. When Michael Williams puts his face in the grass every other play.
All right, let's hear y'all's. I want to hear what y'all got to say.
I got him going 7-5. Got him beat Ball State, beat Eastern Kentucky, beat Akron, beat Vanderbilt, and then beating Florida. And then lose to Georgia, beat Missouri, lose to Tennessee, lose to Mississippi State, lose to Bama, lose to South Carolina, and beat Louisville. 7-5, and then go 3-5 in the SEC.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, I don't see them doing too much.
I don't see them doing anything.
All right, let's see what Josh has. He always has the weird.
All right, here we go.
No, this one's
beating like Tennessee and losing to like Akron or something.
No, this is a pretty normal schedule. I mean, you got the pancake games at the beginning, easy walkthrough. 3-0, lose to Vandy, lose to Florida, lose to Georgia. They beat Missouri at home, lose to Tennessee. I think they pick up a road win at Mississippi State, and then lose Alabama and South Carolina, and finish the season on a win, securing the bowl game at Louisville.
Louisville.
I could see them losing to South Carolina, or even Mississippi State. But dude, I honestly don't see how they'll lose to Vanderbilt or Florida. I mean, Kentucky's gonna be pretty good next year. Like they'll beat Vanderbilt. Florida's gonna be awful. I'm telling you, they're gonna be a dumpster fire. They might be the last team in the SEC. They might win 2 games. Like I'm serious. They're gonna be bad.
Well, wasn't Florida the rumored location for Grayson McCall?
No, it was. I thought it was Auburn.
I thought it was Auburn and Florida.
It was one of those two.
Florida. Yeah, it was mostly Auburn.
The news came in though. He figured out he was going to face Georgia's defense, and he just decided to stay here. I would too, though. If I mean, who would want grass in their eyes? I mean, let's be serious. He wouldn't have to eat supper. He'd be eating dirt.
Yeah, I mean, with Auburn's offensive line, he honestly would be.
Yeah.
It don't matter. Ohio State's offensive line, he'd be.
They didn't. Man, what did Jalen Carter do in that game? How many sacks? 0.
We ain't worry about Jalen Carter that game. We worry about Bullard, the best DB in the country.
Oh boy, here we go. We'll save that for another time. We might get revenge next year. All right, let's finish it off. We got Tennessee. I think this could go a lot of different ways. I think it just depends on what your thoughts are on Joe Milton as a quarterback. Obviously, they had a good year last year, and hopefully redeem themselves. And if they win some crazy games, they can make it to the playoff. I just don't see it happening. I mean, they got to go against some incredibly tough teams. They have a tough schedule, obviously, and I think they're good enough to split the tough games. But I don't think they're going to be able to win all of them. I think last year they had something really special with Hendon Hooker, and I think that they can somewhat replicate that this year, and there not be so much of a drop off. But Joe Milton's a good quarterback, but man, Hendon Hooker just took those guys to a different level, and especially Jalen Hyatt too. I mean, he was really, really good. So they lost him as well. And they also lost. So they lost 5 offensive starters and they lost 3 defensive starters. So it's a decent amount of people to replace overall. But they start off the season against Virginia and Austin Peay and Florida and UTSA. So that's 4-0 right there. Then they play South Carolina at home. I think they beat South Carolina. I think that will be a really good game. And I just think it depends on what South Carolina team shows up, because you can get a really good South Carolina team or you can get one that's flat. It just really depends on the day. And then they play Texas A&M. I got them beating Texas A&M. I did say that I think Texas A&M will be better than they were last year, but they are playing this game in Neyland, and I don't think they're going to be where they need to beat a team like Tennessee next year. Then they play Alabama. I do have them losing to Alabama. I think Alabama is going to be a pretty good team next year, even though the quarterback situation is a little different. And then I have them beating Kentucky and UConn, and then I have them losing that strange game to Missouri as kind of an upset. And then with the Georgia game, I have them beating Georgia. Like I said, I thought they'd probably split those games, so I got them beating Georgia at home. And then I have them also beating Vanderbilt.
I basically had the same thing, but instead switch Missouri and Georgia because I still have them losing to Georgia. I know, like, Joe Milton I think he's a great quarterback. I wouldn't say great. He's a good quarterback as I've watched him torch Clemson secondary. But, that's why I think Tennessee's still going to be good. But obviously they're not a playoff team. They're going to finish 10-2. But I feel like South Carolina will be like their closest game that they come out on top. I feel like they could maybe even lose that game. I just don't think they will, just because of what South Carolina did to them last year. But I think everyone's overlooking the UConn game. I'm kidding. UConn could come in there and they could win. You never know.
Oh my gosh.
They're gonna have enough of their problems on November 18th. They might well, even though it's at Neyland, I wouldn't even waste my legs walking that game. They're gonna get smoked.
Tennessee 2-2, losing to Bama and losing to Georgia.
Okay, that's fair.
I have them 11-1, losing to Bama, beating Georgia, winning them the SEC East.
Interesting.
Hey,
I tell you
I
what,
think
though,
it's
Interesting.
I mean,
it'll
they
be
do have a
another
more experienced
close
quarterback
game.
playing than Georgia does this year, so there's that.
We got to remember though, it is
That is
11:56
true,
in South Carolina and 11:56 in part of the Southeast. So Jock Cortizone is probably asleep right now, saying something like that.
No. I think they fall the way of Alabama like last year, where
Max
Georgia comes in.
Max is still fresh on his mess. He just got out of his Sunday morning service there in Utah. It's 5 a.m.
I don't see them beat Georgia. I don't see it.
It's going to be a close game.
I think so too. I think it'll be much closer than it was last year, and I think it really just has to do with the game being in Neyland and then Georgia having a new quarterback. I mean, if Stetson Bennett was playing, I would say definitely not. But given that's a new quarterback, I mean, you saw how different Georgia was whenever they had JT Daniels in their quarterback. I mean, they did not look like the same team. So if that's the Georgia team that goes in there and plays, there's a few games that could be like, I don't know, It really just comes down to the quarterback at the end of the day, and I think that's the case with a lot of these teams. Especially, I saw a thing today. It said this is the first time since 2014 that Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama are all having to put in new quarterbacks for the season ahead that haven't played in the previous season. So that was pretty interesting. But I think there's a lot of, obviously you got to play the game and stuff like that. But compared to last year, I think there's a lot more uncertainty with a lot of these top tier teams. Well, y'all got anything else to say, or good to go?
I'm good.
Good to go.
It's almost
good.
the next day.
It is. We are 1 minute away from the next.
I'm out of it right now.
That was good.
Podcast
All right,
last 2 days.
That's gonna do it for us. Thanks for watching the Xtra Point. This is the second episode we've done. Next time I'll do the SEC West and get into that a little bit. Hopefully this will be a little bit better since it was a shorter podcast, and hopefully we can do this at a better time so I can help you guys out. So since our time's a little different. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys subscribe to the channel and like it or whatever you got to do on Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. Help us get some followers, some viewers. Share it with your friends if they don't have a podcast to listen to. And we will see you guys next time.